Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gooey's Dungeon Dive, the podcast where I, Gooey, rank every dungeon in The Legend of Zelda, and we are creeping ever closer to the finale of A Link to the Past. This week we are talking about Mire. Now, the path to Mire actually requires a few items from the overworld that you have to get. You know, both of them you could have acquired way earlier in the game, and it's pretty likely at least that one of them you would have gotten. But, the only way to actually get to this particular area in the Dark World is via a portal in the Light World that can only be reached by warping with the Flute. Like I said, hopefully you've already got the Flute if you're playing this game, but nevertheless, you need it. And we could go into a whole thing about the Flute Boy, the legendary Flute Boy of the Haunted Grove, as the Nintendo Player's Guide calls him. But we'll leave that to the side for now. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the late Flute Boy, who you, of course, get his warp flute from. But anyway, the final piece you need to enter, once you warp to Mire from the Desert of Mystery, it's crazy, it's storming, and you come up to the dungeon, and the final thing you need to enter it is the Ether Medallion. The need for it is laid out actually pretty well in the Nintendo Player's Guide, where they say, the labyrinth under Mire was sealed by the same magic that created the wind and the rain in the swamp. The first hero ever to explore this maze is said to be the legendary Link. While standing on the lightning bolt symbol near the cave entrance, Link called upon the magic of the Ether Medallion, causing the clouds to vanish and the dungeon entrance to rise from the swamp. So, kind of cool. It is sort of a swamp-themed dungeon, but I love this magical element, too. The dungeon, itself, it's like swarming with wizrobes. That's, like, kind of a common enemy in the dungeon. So, it's kind of fitting, like, the magic seals the entrance sort of thing. It's kind of cool when you use the medallion and the whole storm goes away. It's a cool scene. But on top of that, we do have a little bit of a swampy vibes going on. It's not as strong as, say, the iciness of the Ice Palace or what have you, but there's definitely some green gooiness going on here. They got, like, a nice little touch of, like, something funky growing on the wall, and a lot of the enemies here, I guess you could say, are more of the slimy variety, except for the wizrobes, of course, who are kind of one of the main sort of enemies here. Now, I just love this dungeon. I love both, how open and interconnected it all is. Like, right away, there's all this explorable area you can go to. And then if you look at a map, you kind of just see how it's all weaved together and leads back to certain areas, and that's really the case and it's not as difficult as it looks, but that's because it has something like 5 keys, and you need probably less than half of them to actually beat the dungeon if you know what you're doing. And of course, if you don't, the result is you have a lot of varying options to progress, and kind of no matter which way you go in the dungeon, there's always something interesting to discover. Whether it's like a key or the big key or a puzzle to get the item or whatever. Like, rarely on a playthrough do I even do this dungeon the same way, because I don't have, like, the direct path memorized. And I always just have fun kind of poking around, and it just feels so intricate to me. Like, a lot of paths intersect and connect in a cool way. Most of the action takes place, like, right on one big floor, and it makes it a little bit easier to keep your directional awareness. But the floor is also not too massive where you ever have to, like, backtrack too far, though it's obviously a lot of backtracking, especially depending on how you play it, but you're also opening up these different routes and stuff that, again, interconnect. So, like, to me, it makes that even like the backtracking satisfying in a way that this is my favorite kind of thing in Zelda dungeons, honestly. Sometimes, like, one of my ways of playing dungeons like this in this game, and I think in like some of the handheld games, there's a lot of dungeons that I like to play this way, which is like I like to see how many keys I can actually collect before I spend any. So I'll be like going around trying to find keys, looking at my map, kind of remembering where the locked doors are, making a note, and before I even spend any. And it requires a bit more backtracking too, because I'm like, okay, gotta come here, back here with a key, even if I already have a key, But other times, I'll lock doors more willy-nilly to see, what happens if you go down the whatever path. And I think both are, valid strategies, though, now that I've kind of adopted this more like hold on to the keys strategy, it actually, I feel like it makes a lot of dungeons way easier to tackle, at least ones like this, But yeah, I just love it. I really do love it. And honestly, you do, like, kind of like the Ice Palace, and I mean most of the dungeons, like, you do make good use of most of your items. Like, I think that's something A Link to the Past is really good at. There's more like memorable wall bombing areas. There's like a whole puzzle set piece where you have to light some torches to get the big key. True to the spirit of this dungeon, actually, speaking of the big key, there's like an extra door that you can use it on. Kind of neat. Another memorable moment in regards to items is to actually get the dungeon item. There's sort of this like path with a collapsing walkway similar to the Palace of Darkness that you have to either like run quickly around and get across it before it falls. But that kind of takes some time to actually navigate around. Or if you're crafty, you can use the hook shot to get across this little gap and run a little bit more easier. And it's cool because there's like these crazy laser eyes shooting at you. So it makes it a little bit more epic. And, with that, you get the Cane of Samaria, which is another item that I think gets a surprising amount of use in this game. Especially you can choose to use it more than you need to, and it can be sort of useful. But you mainly use it here to create a block to like press down switches that need to be like constantly pressed down. It would have been definitely useful in that last puzzle in the Ice Palace, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. One minor detail I like is as you get close to the boss's lair, you're in the floor right below it, these like the slimy Zols start plopping down from the ceiling. It's kind of a cool moment, and when you go up to the next floor, directly above where they're falling, there's actually like just a room that's just got a big hole. So I always like to imagine them, falling down, oozing down from this hole. It's right before the boss room too. So it kind of adds this extra, we again got the building up tension before you go to the boss room. And then when you enter the boss room, there's probably the gooeyest of all bosses in the game, Vitreous, who I learned the name Vitreous comes from, forgive me if I don't totally understand this, but it comes from the vitreous humor, a clear gel that is found inside eyeballs. And he's got a lot of that. He's basically a bunch of eyeballs swimming in goo, I guess. It's pretty nasty, but it looks cool. The slime on the floor and everything. The fight itself it's pretty basic. He's just a bunch of eyeballs, and they come bouncing out of the slime to hit you, and he's shooting lightning at you that you gotta dodge or whatever. And you kill enough of these little eyes, and he'll come out. And then you gotta attack the big eye of Vitreous himself. I don't know. He's okay. Not my favorite boss in the game, but I don't really dislike him too much either. He's alright. Then once again, of course, we free the maiden he was guarding or whatever, and she will give us our, last little bit of encouragement, but she also gives us a great tease, telling us that Zelda awaits us at Turtle Rock. So, the last maiden we need to free is actually Princess Zelda. So there's some excitement there. That really makes you feel like we're getting to the end of the game. And we have 2 more dungeons left, so this is very exciting to me. And with that, I think it's worth it to take it to the ranking. And like I said, I adore this dungeon. I was going to say it's kind of a little bit lighter on the thematic elements, but there's kind of a bit of a mix of magic and swamp in there. I like that you use this magic to clear the storm, and there's these whiz robes, and the dungeon item is this magical rod. Not as cool as the magic rod in Legend of Zelda, I guess, but that's guarded by the room full of laser eyes and all this stuff. The puzzle to get the big key with torches is neat, but it's a little random. It doesn't fit the vibe as much. But I do like it. But overall, it's really the navigation that I just love. I have a blast. I like a dungeon that still, I played a million times, and it's still fun to explore and poke around in, and see if I can, every time I play it, I kind of remember it a different way. And I just love looking at the map and seeing how all these rooms come together. Really, I just love that kind of complexity of it all and everything. So, I'm not gonna lie, it has the elements that I liked in terms of the way the dungeon unfolds in the exploration as Palace of Darkness, but way more. So, yeah, to me, this is the best of the best so far. But yeah, so I'm putting it at number 1. And that just means, you look at A Link to the Past, it is dominating right now. So, yeah, shout out to Misery Mire. I'm sure other people will disagree, but that's okay. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like or whatever, share it around or do whatever you gotta do. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.